In this video, I am reading through step 5 from the Marijuana Anonymous program. I will comment on it, shed some light. Many people have enjoyed the previous videos, many subscribers. So I guess I should continue and get to the end and not let my ADHD get in the way of me completing these tasks. My name is Mike Stroh. This is the Starts With Me channel. I hope you find this helpful. Okay, step 5, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. The principle behind step 5 is integrity. Step 5 required courage as well as rigorous honesty. We were beginning to practice the principle of integrity. We had written our moral inventory and we were ready to share it. The secrets that some of us swore to take to the grave had become obstacles to further spiritual growth. We had to become willing not only to disclose the nature of our wrongs, but also to be quite specific and precise about them. We were uncovering the destructive patterns that resulted from our resentments, fears, and selfishness. And it was time to share them with a sponsor or spiritual guide in order to help us move beyond them. Okay, and if you watched step 4 or have seen some of my other videos on resentment, that's what step 4 is all about. Unpacking our dark side, our shadow, coming into relationship of all the things we held on to for dear life, or out of fear or shame or embarrassment, admitted these things, acknowledged these things in order to become free from them. Step 5, which is in congruency or alongside step 4, really, I think was the greatest spiritual experience of my life. Outside of having children, perhaps, this step really helped propel me on my journey. I see it so helpful with others, not just people in addiction recovery, also clients who I work with in my psychotherapy practice find this very helpful, particularly those that are not in addiction recovery, just normal people with normal problems. When contemplating this step, the biggest obstacle that many of us faced was a shortage of trust. We did not fully trust ourselves and trusted others even less. Some of us procrastinated by insisting that we could not find the perfect person to hear our inventory. Some said we were using therapy and did not need to use a spiritual tool. Why not both? For some, our excuse was that this step seemed to mirror the confessional of a religion we had earlier rejected. All of these excuses were manifestations of a lack of humility. We were afraid of letting someone else know who we really were. But it was time to take off the masks we'd hidden behind for years. Beautiful, right? That really speaks to all the lies and the justifications, the shame, the fears, etc., that we hide behind through recovery or through addiction, that we learn to heal through recovery. Okay. After showing some humility and letting go, we can get back to this. We finally swallowed our pride and met with a spiritual advisor, sponsor, or in some cases, even a total stranger. We read them our inventory and were careful not to hold back any of our secrets. By admitting precisely what we had done that had caused us and the others around us the most pain, we earned a fresh start in life. Most of us immediately felt lighter. We found that admitting our wrongs to God, ourselves, and another human being helped to bring about a powerful personality transformation or spiritual experience. The inventory illuminated patterns of resentment, fear, and selfishness. We started to see their destructiveness. We realized, maybe for the first time, that these patterns were objectionable. Knowing this, we were free to act in new ways that made us happier and even brought joy to those around us. We started to grow away from being self-serving and toward being of service to. So that speaks to what I was mentioning earlier. The transformation from really getting all that dark yuckiness out of our minds, our spirits, our souls, our nervous systems, and out into the universe, into the ears of another human being. My sponsor is the only person who I've basically told from memory, every deep, dark secret that I ever had. And that was such a tremendously liberating experience. So liberating experience number one, for sure, in addiction recovery is just admitting that you can't do it anymore and to stop using. That has a profound effect on us, for sure. Step 4 and 5, in my opinion, is another deeply profound experience of letting go of the noose around our necks, the chains shackled to our legs, of loosening up, of freeing ourselves from the pain, the traumas, the secrets, the lies that we've been carrying around our whole lives and that we've been using weed to help cope with. Okay, back to the reading here. The 5th step can give a recovering addict a strong feeling of social connectedness and spiritual oneness. It is a special exercise in humility. After all, it was heartening when we first discovered that actions that had filled us with shame and guilt could be understood and accepted by another person. So we were careful to resist the temptation to hold back special little secrets. We learned that quite often addicts can use guilt and shame to magnify character defects with a kind of grandiosity. We're not just bad, we think we're the worst of the worst. But more often than not, no matter what secret we shared, we found a sympathetic person who had done things very similar to what we had done. We were no longer cut off from help because of a belief that what we did was particularly and uniquely shameful. We got a chance to rejoin the human race. Oh, that is so beautiful. Rejoining the human race. Not thinking you're uniquely messed up and screwed up and unworthy of love and goodness and kindness. On this channel, I often talk about self-compassion. And this is a lovely example of self-compassion and the idea of common humanity. So out of isolation and loneliness into a connectedness with human beings and with God or the universe. Beautiful. Okay, back to the reading. We not only disclosed our wrong actions, but many of us also laid bare the things we regretted not doing or accomplishing. We dug deep into our inner being, made a list of our past mistakes, saw the patterns emerge from them, and then admitted them. Putting our inventories on paper had helped us sort out things in our own minds. Speaking frankly about ourselves to our higher power and another human being expanded our self-knowledge and relieved us of the burden of our past. A sense of belonging began to grow in us. So beautiful, so beautiful. Out of isolation, fear, loneliness, shame, into openness, connectedness, freedom, joy, love. I'm getting a lot of goosebumps thinking about that in this moment. It's a wonderful experience, and I wish it greatly for you. Without step 5, our dedication to remaining clean would have remained largely theoretical. Just knowing our wrongs was not enough. We could easily retreat by justifying, minimizing, exaggerating, or denying them. This was very dangerous. Trying to live a clean and sober life while acting the same as we did when using is at best very painful. At worst, it can lead to relapse or suicide. Step 5 opened a channel to the love that can heal us. Step 5 is more than just reading our 4th step inventory. With the help of God and another human being, we faced the facts of our lives. We took a stride towards wisdom. Through the 5th step, we gained a tool that we could use to take an objective look at ourselves. With the help and counsel of another person, we could confirm our findings. We used our human faculties, the counsel of another human being, and our relationship with a higher power to be born anew. This was the beginning of the experience of self-acceptance. So beautiful, these words. This is the spiritual journey. This is the path to a better life, dare I say, to enlightenment. Perhaps the most important aspects of the 5th step are the acceptance, compassion, and forgiveness we feel from our sponsor and from a higher power. The guilty feelings born in our past start to fall away. We begin to feel a closeness and an intimacy with all of creation. In fact, the wreckage of our past actually starts to feel like a resource of experience from which we can begin to learn and grow. Beautiful. Okay. Transforming your pain, your trauma, your past into wisdom, empowerment, transformation, strength, and courage. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I wish this for you. If you're watching this and you've done a fifth step, amazing. Perhaps share in the comments your experience with your fifth step. It's a wonderful opportunity. Just as a note, probably took 6-7 hours to go through my fifth step with my sponsor because we went through every single line very thoroughly. I did not speed that process up. I took my time thanks to my sponsor, and we did a super thorough job. There's no race here. It's about developing that wisdom, that understanding, so that we can really be free. Okay. While listening to our fifth step, some of our sponsors helped us make a preliminary list of persons to whom we owed direct amends. Some left that for us to do. Our sponsors helped us to see who had harmed us and whom we had harmed. We were freed from the kind of childish thinking that had allowed us to accept blame for the misbehavior of others, yet not accept responsibility for our own actions and inactions. This is a really important sentence here. A lot of us in this process learn, and it's difficult sometimes, to separate the poor treatment we received and not blame ourselves for that, and also take responsibility for how we hold on to that resentment and use it as a justification for our actions. Terribly difficult, but we do learn to separate being treated poorly from how we perpetuate the resentment, the resentiment in our minds of what this person did to us and how we use that as an excuse. Another very powerful opportunity to learn and grow in this particular step here. Amazing, amazing. Okay, I will continue. This step helped us move towards sanity. It cut through our mental cobwebs like a sword and slew the dragons of delusion that had plagued us. Oh my God, that is beautiful. Jesus. We now find we no longer have to behave a certain way because of a resentment we acquired years ago. We no longer need to have the same kind of cavalier, selfish, and manipulative attitude toward our sexual partners. We began the journey toward becoming a true friend, a valued worker, a loving sibling, a trusted child, and a nurturing parent. We knew what our fears were and why we had them. They came out of the shadows and were a matter of record to ourselves, our sponsors or confidants, and to God. We found a new closeness and connection to our higher power. This again really articulates how we transform the pain into behaviors, ways of thinking that are empowering, that make us stronger, that kind of help us create the life we've always wanted. It's so wonderful. So wonderful. We thought step 5 would be humiliating, but after taking it, we discovered it to be empowering. We found ourselves again. We tapped into a well of honesty about our past that gave us strength and hope for the present. Doing our 5th step brought us into the heart of the fellowship of MA. We began to feel powerfully connected to our concept of a loving God and to the other addicts in our group. This led us to the willingness required to take step 6. Absolutely wonderful. As I said before, step 4 and 5 were some of the most impactful experiences I've ever had in my entire life. Freeing ourselves from that pain and torment and shackles and shame is such a wonderful experience. Now, you can't do this alone. You need someone else to help you with that, whether that's through a 12-step group or not. Ideally, if you're in recovery in particular, you have a group that you can do this in, and a sponsor or a mentor or a therapist or a spiritual guide who you can do this with. I promise you, though, if you take a thorough and fearless moral inventory, step 4, admit that to God, to yourself, and to another human being, the exact natures of your wrongs, your life will transform. Sometimes slowly, sometimes quickly, but it will transform. I hope you found this video helpful. Please share it with someone you think might find it useful. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, all that stuff. I'll be back with step 6 at some point. Thank you for watching. Take it easy. Peace out. I am very grateful that you watched to the end of this video. Please click one of the boxes to watch more of our content, and otherwise have a great day. Peace out.